Hey guys, welcome back to the King's Legacy Show. Super pumped to have you here with me today. My name is Rich James Jackson. If this is our first time meeting, if this is not our first time meeting, welcome back. I'm pumped that you've returned. I'm a little bit rogue today, so first and foremost, if you're watching this on video, you'll notice that I've had a shave, which really spooked my kids out, but it was funny playing Find Daddy's Beard last night. That was good. And I'm wearing a different top. I do own different clothes, which is a little bit of a breakout from me just wearing my black top. So I feel a little bit spontaneous today, and it kind of is flowing into today's show as well. So I'm a little bit less off script. I'm going to be a little bit more off script today. Sometimes I have my script in front of me. I know what points I want to cover, but today is a little bit different. So I guess the main discussion today and the main learnings and the main takeaways that I want to share today and I want to bring to the table is some of the things that have really had a big impact on myself. So learning this stuff and having a deeper understanding of this stuff has completely transformed my relationship and that of the guys that I currently work with. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be diving deep into communication as the topic, but more specifically around love languages. And just to summarize communication, it's not just words. Communicating with someone isn't just about talking to someone. It's about connecting. It's about understanding. It's about growing together. And it's essentially, when done correctly, it's the bridge that connects us. And it allows us to share our deepest fears, our biggest hopes and dreams and aspirations. So it's a really crucial part of any relationship. Now, as we go a little bit deeper, and let's talk a little bit about love languages. If you've never heard of them, they were developed by Dr. Gary Chapman, and there are 5 ways that we express and people express love language, express themselves, sorry. And they are words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch. And understanding these can completely transform your relationship. Now, and a little bit of a personal story. Now, in my own relationship, before Maddie and I explored love languages and learned a little bit more stuff around this, we sometimes both felt unappreciated and kind of a little bit what's the right word for it? Let's say unappreciated. But this was down to the fact that my primary love language is physical touch, but Maddie's are more words of affirmation and quality time. And as you can imagine, this mismatch can lead to some misunderstandings, especially when you go deeper and you want that deeper level of connection and intimacy. If you're not speaking your partner's love language, it can be a little bit of a misunderstanding, especially when they're a little bit different like ours are. And the funny thing about this is that, and this may have happened to you, you may have heard this, and this is just a personal reflection moment, but it would have been over a decade ago now that Maddie asked me about love languages, and I think she was reading it out of a magazine at the time. And I remember I almost like, when you roll your eyes in the back in your mind. You don't do it physically, obviously, but in my head, I kind of rolled my eyes, and I was definitely dismissive. I probably just said, "Oh yeah, sounds good." But now I've come to realize the power behind them, and when they are mismatched and you're in a relationship with someone and you have mismatched love languages, if that stays unaddressed and if there's no solution around it, it can create massive cracks in a relationship. And it's not just fluff. This isn't just fluff. This is I'd call it foundational. It's really important. Being aware of these languages helps you communicate in a way that resonates with your partner. But it's more than just about the knowledge. It's more than just knowing their love language. You've got to make the effort to not only know it first and foremost, but actually catch yourself and apply it. And that takes effort. But wow, it's powerful when you do, and you're definitely glad you did this work. So I'd like to share a little story just about Jack. And Jack he works with me at the minute, and he was struggling in communication with his wife. And essentially him and his wife, this may or may not sound familiar, but they weren't communicating effectively. Let's say that they weren't communicating effectively. And when they did communicate, they were going through a patch of just kind of escalating each other to a point in which they found themselves in unresourceful conversations, or even a little bit of a conflict, even a bit of conflict. Let's call it that. But what we did, and if that sounds familiar to you, and this is probably the first starting block that I would go down if your communication had broken down a little bit, we introduced a listening session. And essentially all it was is each person, both of them, just had uninterrupted time to speak, and effectively time to listen. And this brought like a new level of understanding and empathy to the relationship. And it was something simple. I think we put 6 minutes on the clock. Initially we had 6 minutes on the clock, and introduced that into their schedule. I believe they installed it every Friday at the start, and it was just a listening session, and it allowed each of them individually just to open up, and it definitely brought back more empathy in the relationship rather than just escalating each other all the time. We created that space for the better communication. And I'd love to hear from you. What's worked for you? What's worked for you and your partner, and your connection? Do you know your partner's love language? Do you know your love languages? How has that knowledge impacted your relationship? I'd love to offer you the chance to enhance your relationship. If you want to see it flourish in 2024 and you seek guidance in this stuff, in communication, in love languages, I'm here to help. So probably the best place to get me is on Facebook. So drop me a message on Facebook at Rich James Jackson. Thanks for tuning in today. And remember, effective communication it's the key. It's essential. It's key to a strong relationship. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it. And remember, as always, fuck small talk, make every conversation count. And I'll catch up with you on the next episode of this. Hopefully you enjoyed it today. And thanks for being here. And thanks for appreciating my bald face.